So, Bobby, I heard a rumor that you changed your ice bath from your normal duration to specifically 97 seconds. Why? What's the purpose of that? Is that really going to get you that extra edge?
I did. So here's the deal. I was ice bathing for 90 seconds every morning. I would wake up, first thing go to bed. I would go down the hallway. It's really, really important when you do that to not let any form of UV light touch your skin whatsoever. I would get into a completely dark room, and then I would ice bath for precisely 90 seconds. But it turns out that a lot of the literature and science say that 97 seconds is a way to harness the mitochondrial biogenesis of ATP, and it has rolled back my cellular clock by exactly 11.7 years.
Wow. Incredible. Just 7 seconds of ice bath, and you
I will tell you, Joe.
You can be
I will tell you. I am fitter now because of that one change than I've ever been in my life. It is like I have found the thing, the secret that has been elusive for so long.
I'm a little worried, though. I think some people might think you're serious. Like, if they cut the episode off right then and there, we're going to be taken out of context, as they say.
No, this is what. Listen, let's be clear. This is the world we live in. We live in this, and I'll call it the podcast bro mentality. It is the Joe Rogan, the Lane Norton, the Andrew Huberman, the Rona Patrick, the Brian Johnson live forever guy. And listen, there's a lot of credible scientists out there. Like, I want to make that clear. But when I talk about the podcast bro mentality, it's not even the podcaster that's the problem. It's the type of person that interprets the message. And it's, if I just do this one little thing, if I just optimize, this is going to change my entire fitness routine radically. And I got to say, Joe, optimization is BS. It's a myth. It's an elusive thing that you will chase your entire life, that you will never catch up to. It just is what it is. But we live in a society where people need that answer.
Well, isn't the optimal program the one that you actually stick to and do, regardless of whether it's even the most effective? Because you can have the most effective program, but if it requires you to do stuff that you're never going to do, you're never going to execute it. That's not optimal.
I mean, that's a really good point, and we can dive into that further. Because if you're not, and let's actually back up way back to the beginning, to the foundation, all right? The true optimization, or the true optimal program, the optimal whatever, is whatever allows you to achieve your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So you can judge Michael Phelps because he ate Lucky Charms, because he ate Subway, because he ate candy, because he ate Snickers bars. Really hard to argue with the result. Like, you could pull it up right now. How many gold medals did Michael Phelps win? 32, 39, 47? Like, it's actually an ostentatious number of gold medals that man won in the Olympics. But there were people, I remember when he was doing this, Joe, that were highly critical of his diet, highly critical of his lifestyle practices. Apparently, it was optimal for him. So what is the great internet say?
28 Olympic medals, 23 gold, 3 silver, 2 bronze.
28. So 32, I gave him too much credit. He's only got 28 Olympic medals. But my point is that, okay, so maybe Lucky Charms are optimal then? Like, at that point, like, it's it's whatever works. Then you look at somebody, we were actually just talking about him off camera, Gronk, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. We're talking a guy that would drink till 3 or 4 in the morning, roll into the Patriots training facility, fall asleep on the training table, and they would wake him up for practice, and he would go out and make absolute fools out of some of the best athletes on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are all kinds of stories like this. Now, I'm not saying that's healthy, but Michael Phelps and Gronk have one big thing in common. They showed up to their training in any condition every single day of their lives and just put in some amount of physical work. Like, that's just the reality. So at a base level, I think the message here is the big 3: sleep, nutrition, working out. If you do those things and you do them really, really well, you're probably at 99% of your potential. The number changes depending the podcast I'm on, depending what day we're on. But like, it's got to be somewhere between 95 and 99% of your potential. Like, that's going to take care of everything else. And you could even argue, Joe, there was a lecture I was at that working out by far is the most important. That's the first thing you do. That's the first thing you prioritize if you want to get fit. The next one is eating. The last one is sleep. And I want to tell you, like, hey, you got to sleep more. You got to do this. You got to do that. It's going to help. And like, well, I believe that's true. If you took two athletes and one worked out every day, but slept poorly, and the other one didn't work out at all, but slept with all the science, that person who's working out would crush the sleeper, if you will. Like, it's like, that's the tier one asset. When people are looking to get more fit, they're looking to put on more size, they're looking to put, it's always in one of those three buckets, and working out by far is the most important. And what do we mean by working out? We talked about it, just showing up. Yeah. Well, we live in a society, like we were joking about the ice bath, where you've got a person literally who trains twice a week or 3 times a week. They're showing up 30 to 42% of the time, but then they're convinced that the reason they don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mike Mentzer, like whoever it is, they're convinced that that is because of some blood transfusion they don't have, some
because they didn't get their ice bath that week, or
exactly. They didn't have their ice bath. They took their ice bath at the wrong time. They watched the Live Forever, Brian Young, Forever Young documentary on Netflix, and they decided they had to start, distilling and drinking their own urine, because that was the thing that was going to like make all the difference in their body. And it's a myth that people are chasing. And I think, Joe, I'd love your opinion on this. I think the reason people go for optimization is because it's easier to believe there's something out there. Yeah. There's something that you don't know about. There's something that you don't have access to believe that that's the reason you're unfit, instead of admitting you just don't care enough. You just don't make enough time. You just don't work hard enough. Would that be a fair way to put it?
I think so. I think there's something in human psychology about things that aren't immediately apparent. Like if I've never worked out and I'm out of shape, I'm 30 pounds overweight, I've got very little muscle mass, and I decide to go to the gym today, I'm not going to see results tomorrow. I'm not going to see results in a week. Especially if I go today and I work out and then I don't work out for a week, I'm definitely not going to see results, but I'm going to feel bad, right? I'm going to feel tired. I'm going to feel sore. I'm going to feel the effects of that, but you don't see the results of that for months and months and months. And it's really hard for people to believe that that's what it takes. And it's even harder for them to believe that the level of commitment that they're giving to a program isn't as high as they think it is. They want to buy this program, they get on it for 2 weeks, they get bored, or they hear about a different program that's more optimal, and so they jump to that other program. They never finish the first one. And so their levels of intensity, their levels of commitment waver way more than they realize, and they won't admit to themselves that that's the problem. So obviously it has to be this outside thing, right? You see some actor who does it easily, and you're like, well, yeah, obviously they got the magic pill, and I just didn't get the magic pill. It can't be that hard. But I mean, it is. You gotta be in that place. You gotta be training, you gotta be eating right, and you gotta do it for a long friggin' time before you start to see those results. It's a slow process.
Well, and on that note, 2 things I want to touch on that just came to light from your point of view here. One, I'll address the acting thing first. These guys work a lot harder than you think.
Yeah.
Right? Not you, but the people at home. Like you at home, you think it's the pill, it's the trainer, it's the TRT, it's like the whatever people are on. But it couldn't be that Michael B. Jordan just showed up and worked out 4 hours a day to transform himself for Creed. It couldn't be that Henry was just training like a savage for Man of Steel. It couldn't be that Chris Hemsworth has really adopted fitness into his life and just works out every single day. Like, people seem to overlook it. It has to be, well, they're lucky they're in Hollywood. They have this and this and this and this. And it's like, well, no, they actually, like at a base level, they're doing all the things that they should do. Now, is it an advantage to have meal prep and a chef and a massage?
Absolutely.
Sure, absolutely. Is it an advantage to not have to go to work for the day? and just get your workouts in. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I'm not here to take away from that. But you could have that result too if you just carved out the time. You're not willing to, you're unable to, whatever it is. So now you have to imagine there's this thing out there that you don't have, and it's the secret, and they get it. That's number one. The second thing is, I really think people's idea of hard work is skewed. Like showing up 3 days a week. We've talked about this on our percentage podcasts. 3 days a week is a 42% effort. That's your attendance rate. And you think you're the hardest worker you know. You think your diet is good, yet you have 6 adult beverages a week. You drink a gallon of soda. You have 3 bags of chips. You eat fast food a couple of times. But because every single day you make an effort to have a grain, maybe a little bit of olive oil, you think that your diet's on point and you can't improve. Or you think, man, I've been good all week, Monday to Friday. I'm obsessed. I got to let loose on the weekend, and you go bananas. And you think you're super dedicated, and you don't understand how much more work there is to do. We would see it all the time. How many times would you have somebody come into your gym and would say exactly this? Man, I thought I was working hard before. This is insane.
Yeah.
That's a regular comment when people come into a CrossFit style, functional style gym.
Yeah. There's actually a really interesting phrase I came across recently, and then I think it really does describe a lot of my training philosophy and a lot of my approach to training in general. And I think you'll relate to this, but the phrase, which I can't believe never came to me before, was training density. Like how much work you're fitting into a particular period of time. And we've always really tried to optimize that number. Like the more training we can fit in less time, the more effective that training is for us. And so our programs do pack a ton of work into a pretty short package. If you took one of our workouts, for example, and just spread it out over 2 hours, it's not that bad. It would still be effective, but it's not that hard. But trying to fit that in 30 minutes is a very, very different thing. And so that level of training density is overwhelming for people when they realize like how much work you have to do in a given period of time.
Yep. On that note, it's funny with our ladder app, because I've been doing all the workouts, right? Normally they take like 40 minutes, 41 minutes, 43 minutes if you let the rest play fully. There are days I'm in a rush where I skip some of the rest. Cut it down to 30 minutes, which is only really 25%. You're cutting the time by 25%. It gets savagely hard. Like it gets like it's a whole different thing, to your point. Now, the other thing I'd like to say is today I was doing bent rows. If I use 20s for the bent rows, it's not hard. If I use 30s, it's hard. If I use 40s, it's a really bad couple of days for me of soreness and all the other things. So a lot of times I think people with the workout program, they're checking the box. The person that always goes on the machine, puts the pin to number 8, does 3 sets of 10, and they go home. And they really think they're working hard because they showed up. But like my dad used to say, just because you showed up doesn't mean you're here. Like you're not present. You're not working hard. And those are two very different things. But instead, and back to like kind of the script of the podcast, not that we script this, we just chat. What? You can't believe that you could possibly work harder. You can't believe that you can show up more. You can't believe that somebody else just did more than you. You can't believe that the reason Michael Phelps is Michael Phelps is because he swam 1,300 hours a year for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
You have to believe it's some blood transfusion he had. You have to believe it's like some urine recycling technology he had access to, like whatever these podcasters talk about. You had to believe that it was because he had his ice bath every day when the sun was at the peak zenith and the moon was rotating around the earth. That like this is the podcast culture we live in. And unfortunately, when you have a podcast, like we run out of things to talk about because every podcast is the same. It's like, hey, you got to work out, you got to eat right, and you got to, if you built your podcast on little sciencey hacks, you constantly have to come up with something more, constantly come up with something more, constantly come up with something more. And you're kind of stuck going down a road. And then your listeners want to believe it as well. Like it's hard. And I'll put this to you too, Joe, as like a closing shot. I think creatine is effective. It's a supplement I'd recommend people take. But there's another way to look at it in just full transparency. If you took my creatine away for a month, do you think I would really look different?
No.
Do you think I'd perform different?
I don't think so.
Do you think there'd be a measurable change? And the answer is probably not. Like, again, all the science proves it's efficacious, and that's great. But again, if you took it away, would there be a massive difference in my life? And the answer is probably not compared to sleep, food, and nutrition. So
well, think about
I
this.
guess I want to end this.
Isn't the goal to be so fit and to so close to your absolute potential, to be at the very limits of your capabilities, so that those tiny little changes actually had an impact?
Yeah,
right?
and if you're there,
if you're there, like nobody's there. You know what I mean? Like nobody's there. Even the top athletes, they're closer than the average person for sure. But like that should be your goals. To recognize, like right now where I'm at today, nowhere near that. I need to get closer to that. And the closer you get to being as fit, like you have plateaued in every aspect of your fitness. You cannot lift more weight. You cannot run faster. If you're there, like, what are you complaining about, right?
I have a formula, Joe. It's the we're going to call this the Bobby Maximus Optimization Challenge.
All right.
365 days. If for 365 days, 1 year, you do not miss a single workout, you show up every single day, you sleep 8 hours a night, you're not allowed to get less, and you can eat perfectly, then you can come back to me and we can have the optimization talk.
There you go.
If you can't do that, you fail.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You want a piece of cake? I don't care if it's your birthday, your anniversary, Valentine's Day, and you want those little red cinnamon hearts. Like, I don't care. You don't get it. If you can be perfect for 365 days, we can have an optimization talk. Beyond that, you're done. You do not get to look for hacks, shortcuts, gimmicks, 3 easy payments of $9.99, microscience. You can't pay all kinds of money for some special thing that you may or may not need. Again, put up or shut up. 365 days. You do that, we'll talk. If not, then it's back to square one. That's the rule for optimization. So there we go. The Maximus Podcast, keeping it real, as always, with Joe Cebula and Bobby Maximus. Subscribe. What do the kids say now? Turn the notification, click the bell, smash the like button. I think if you say smash the like button, you get a greater response than just like click the like button or whatever it is. But support the podcast and tell us what your favorite method in the comments of optimization is. I actually want to hear from people on this. Like, what do you think the thing is that really, really helps? Is it the ice bath? Is it sauna? Is it peptides? Is it, just let us know like what you think the best form of optimization is. Until next time.